Okay, so today we are going to solve this lead code problem number 1854. So this problem is saying that this is basically we have to find the max population on a particular year. So it's saying that is given a 2D array. Uh, each element is saying a particular person's date of birth and date of death. So what we have to do here, if you read carefully this problem, we have to read in a year which have a maximum population. Okay, and read carefully because there are some terms are very important. So it's saying that uh, the ith person counted in a X population if X is in an inclusive range. So your inclusive range will be become this. Your death will not be counted as a alive year. Is also mentioned after that. Note that the person is not counted in the year that they die. Okay, and also this is the one thing that we have to make sure that should not violate. Another thing that is important is the year, earlier year. So it may be possible that you have a 2 years which have the same population, then we have to return an earlier year. So there's some very example is given there, and there's a constraint also. Constraints are very important. You have to make sure that you read it carefully. Consider the log size of log should be not more than 100, and the date of year it only years are only between the 1950s and 2050, which is 100 year. Okay. So how can we solve this problem? So there are many ways to solve this problem. What we are going to do here, first, let's assume that there's a example, let's say 1950, a person died in 1954, another person born in 1953, that person is died in 1956, another person is born in 1960, and yeah, they died in 1963. So let's say this is 1950, 54. There's a person 1953 and 60. There's another person 60 and 63. If you see here, and death is not included, so we can't include this. So there's a one a person live between 50 to 53 before. Between this, there's one person, and a person live in the year 1953 was two. A person somewhere between this, sorry, one. And if you see this is not included, so 60 is not included, that another person was died, second person was died, third person was born, so this will become one only. And after there is one. So what we have to do, we have to return a maximum population of the year. You will get here two. If you found the index of two, this is the year basically. The year of two is 1953. We have to return this. Okay. So how can we solve? The one of approach first is basically we can pick a uh, uh, an array. Okay. What we can do, what we can do, suppose there is a person born on 1951. So 1950 plus 0 is basically this belong to 1950, and this one 1951. This is 2, this is 3. Whenever a person will be born, will increment 1. By default, this value will be 0, 0, 0, 0. And whenever person is died, we will increment decrement by 0. Okay. By default, we will fill all of our array like this. And second steps will be, this is the first steps. Second steps will be prefix sum. We can call it sometime range sum also. What is prefix sum? So this is there is an array is given to you. Uh, so prefix sum of this array will be become, this is first index will be right as it is. Another will be mapped with this. This will become 3. This is again mapped with the 3, 6. And this is again mapped with this. So this is your become prefix sum. Okay. The same thing we have to do with here also. So if you will do something here, let's pick the above example. Uh, okay. 1963 was a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So this person was born in 1951, died in 54, and the person was born in 1953, and there's a died in maybe somewhere else after that. Okay. So what we have to do for this array only, prefix sum will become 1. By default value was 0, 1, 1, 1 here also, and 2 here also, and again 1 here also. This is 3, 2, 1, 0, and 4. So you have to return 90, 50 plus 3. This is the year where you got the most maximum number of population. Okay. So how can we write this in a code? So to write the code, what we can do, we can simply pick a array, okay, of 101, okay, and then we can do, suppose this is birth, the iterate on the logs, okay, and on each index, what we can do, uh, birth minus 9050 plus equal to 1 we have to do here, okay. On death, we have to decrement. And after this, we have to perform a prefix search. Okay, we got this array, and then we have to perform a prefix search. For that, what we have to do, we have to simply iterate in range 1 comma 101. Okay, because we know the size of the array, so that's why we are written here 101. So people of I plus equal to people of I minus 1. So you found the prefix search. Step 1 was to prepare this array. Step 2 was the prefix sum. And third state is to find the maximum population. So to find the max population, what we have to do is simply perform a max. Okay, max of people you will get. And fourth step is simply return the year. What you can do, oh sorry, for year, what you can do, you can simply write people dot index of this max population plus 9050. This is the approach. And if you see here, the time complexity, there is a one for loop, there's another for loop, step 2, and to find the max, there's a third for loop basically. Uh, the constant of time complexity will be because of and only. Okay. And you have a space also. So your space complexity, if I'm saying 101 is equal to n, then space complexity here also will become to big of n. How can we optimize this? Okay, can we optimize this space complexity? We can do that. How? Because there is only one variable for the uh, remembering the max population. So we can do that. So to do that, we have to first assign a variable. Let's say this is approach number 2, max population equal to 0 by default. And this is the, we also have to remember the year. Okay. So by default, this is 9050. Let's say what this approach is basically, we will pick each year, okay, and we will iterate on logs, and we will see that there is a birth and there is a death. If our year is belong to this or not. If this belong, we'll add 1. If not, then we will do nothing. Okay. In previous example here, let's say we have a uh, suppose we have a 9053. Our year is equal to 9053. Is 9053 belong to here? Yes. Is 9053 belong to here? Yes. So total we'll get 2. This is not here. So total we'll get 2 population in 9053. So this approach we are going to follow to solve, to save this space. Okay. And then we can iterate on years, and we know the constraint that is mentioned is 9050 and 2051, so that we can include the 2050. So, and population, how we will calculate is simple. We'll iterate on range, okay, and one, let's say this is the birth and this is the death in logs. If our year should be belong to it greater than or equal to the birth, but should be less than the death. That is not included here. And next step is just check is our max population is less than population, then simply max population override this value equal to population and max year is equal to year, and at the end you have to return simply year. If you see, we haven't used any array, but there is a loop here. One loop is here, which is for 101. Okay. Another loop is here, which iterating on logs. So our total time complexity will be 101 into. I'm assuming if our log size of log is n again. So this will become n into 101. So we can assume this is the constant. So basically this is log n. The size is not much, so we can neglect that. Cool. Let's go back to our code. If I'll show you the code, I have already written the code. I'm just executing the same code what I have written here. Okay, if you see, I have assigned a people array, and then after that, I'm iterating on the logs, and on each birth and death, where I'm incrementing one and decrementing one here on death. And after that, I'm performing prefix sum. This is the prefix sum I'm doing here, and I'm after that, I'm picking the max population. So let's submit this tool. This is approach number two, where we have a maximum population and maximum year, and we're iterating on the years, and on for each year we are picking iterating on logs, and we are checking whether this year is belong in the range of the date and birth or not. If it is, then we are just summing up the population, and we are at the end we are checking if the population is greater than our variable, then we are assigning that replacing that variable with the population and year as well, and at the end we are returning the year. Cool. Both solution seems good working.